Alright, YouTube, it's Shadow King Nazu, and I'm here with my review of Dragon Ball Super, episode 102. Excuse me. Now, I said in my last video in my Google Plus post that due to my aunt dying, I wouldn't be able to do a recording of Dragon Ball Super's review because of that. But unfortunately, my flight was canceled due to some weather conditions, and we couldn't get another flight, so we just decided to drop the whole thing. But on the plus side, I finally did get to review this episode. So let's focus on that positive and get to it, shall we? So we start off with the Omni Kings doing a recap of all the universe's current state in the Tournament of Power. With the only universe that's actually gone is Universe 9, and thank God, because they were a bunch of douchebags and losers. And based on what we got so far, it's not looking too promising for Universe 10. So if you guys were expecting Universe 10 to be the second to be eliminated, much like myself, because they're a bunch of scrubs, then yeah, you just made a safe bet. Then the Omni Kings turn their attentions towards Brienne de Chateau, who tells her allies Sansa and Sue that it's time for them to show their true power. And while Goku is thanking Android 1718 for helping him out against Universe 11, Brienne and her team starts drawing everybody's attention because they want to show off their transformation. It's basically a parody of the magical girl trope, which is like Sailor Moon. So who better to do that than Toei Animation, because they've been doing the magical girl trope for decades, and they can easily make fun of it too. And they start off just doing their transformation, and we all know how it goes. They all have to do their poses, and it takes really long, and you just leave themselves wide open. And we've all wondered, I mean, with all this time that it takes for them to transform, why doesn't just somebody attack them and stop them? And actually, somebody does do that. Android 17. He fires a ki blast at them. And his excuse is that they will just let themselves wide open. Unfortunately, Goku, the Magical Girls trio, and Toppo all thought that that was a dick move. And they said, not cool, man. Not fucking cool. You have no idea how not fucking cool that shit is. So Android 17 basically just decides to drop it and let them transform. And they just reuse the animation, the whole sequence, everything. Even with Hella's doing the introduction. With her doing this. And she does that throughout the episode 6 or 7 times, since they just had to reuse the animation. I guess they were either trying to be lazy, or either the director, artist, or editor has some sort of armpit fetish, and just wants to check out Hellas' armpits for his own pleasures. Well, at least Rule 34 will have something to add to its gallery. But anyway, the girls finally do their proper transformation. Brienne becomes Re-Brienne. Sansa-kun becomes Kankusasa, I think that's what it was. And Sue becomes, I forgot what her form was called, Liu. I think it was called Logi in one of the sites called. But, which I found really interesting. One thing I found really interesting about Logi, or whatever her name is that in her transformed state, she looks an awful lot like Ty Lee, and she even has some of her poses. So, that's really interesting, because as you guys all know, Ty Lee is my favorite character in Avatar: The Last Airbender, and you've all seen my fan art where me and her are married and all that jazz. So I gotta remember to show that to Olivia Hack. We'll both have a blast with that. Uh, and we all see their special abilities. With Brienne de Chateau, being able to shoot these love hearts, which cause everybody to be enamored by them and starts to lose their focus. And only the most disciplined people can resist it. Such as like the Z Fighters or Frieza. Though I think that's not has less to do with discipline and more that Frieza is just a soulless bastard. You know, excluding the fact that he's basically a walking dead man. Even Topo, who's you'd think it's a really disciplined person, has to struggle to resist it. Jiren just pretty much just shrugs it off like it's nothing. And what's really surprising is that Master Roshi was able to resist it. It really just shows how much character development is. I do expect him to go back to his perverted ways, but they're basically saying that when things get serious and they need to rely on him, he will be able to resist his sexual urges, which is good. Then we cut to Kakasun fighting Android 17 because she wants to get back at him for interrupting their transformation, and she has the ability to fight like a wild animal, and she also has a lot of stamina, which also makes her a good rival for Android 17 since he has infinite stamina as well. And we also get to see Sue fight Goku, and she's doing a lot of fast punches where it looks like Ty Lee's chi blocking moves, which really makes me wonder, did Dragon Ball people working on Dragon Ball, did they watch Avatar Last Airbender and saw this Ty Lee character and said, that's really interesting, maybe we should put a character like her into it. I just wonder, did Toei or Toriyama thought that? That'd be really interesting if they did. So anyway, she does these light attacks, and then she forms these energy balls, and Goku tries to block and dodge them, but she's able to direct them, much like with Yamcha's Spirit Ball, and they manage to hit Goku. Now, it doesn't really do any real damage because Goku's still holding back. He's still in his base form and trying to save up all his strength for Jiren when he fights him, or for Topo. Just anybody who really deserves it. And Kakasu is still trying to fight Android 17, but Android 17 tricks her by having his barrier activate when she was about to strike. And he says that he has a lot of experience fighting wild animals as a park ranger, and he decides to fling her out of the ring with a barrier. But fortunately, the vampire chick, whose name is Vikal, manages to catch her. So Toei has finally realized that they should try capitalizing on the flying characters and have them actually do something that makes them seem like they're going to be trouble. So like they could actually not only have an aerial advantage towards opponents, but they could also bring back people who might be ringed out. And speaking of ringed out, a lot of people were asking me, do I think that the Yardrat who Goku was fighting before Kale kicked him out of the way in the previous 2 episodes, did he get ringed out as well? And I didn't say anything about it because I wasn't too sure, but it looks like he's still in the tournament, which he pretty much is because we saw him with the group. So yeah, there's your answer on that. But back to Kakasu and Vikal, they share a tender moment where they thank each other. I'm not entirely sure if they're lesbians, because some people have kind of gotten that vibe, but I think they're just really good companions. It might be like Kale and Khalifa, where they're just really good companions, and it's platonic, so we don't have any confirmation that they might be lesbians or anything. Uh, Android 18 comes in, and she wants to know if Android 17 needs any help, but no, he just says that he kind of got nostalgic because he kind of missed his little island with the animals, but now he's going to take it seriously, and he aims to knock out Vikal, which he quickly does, which passes off Kakasu, and they start just going at a blitz against each other. And Android 18, if you watch Dragon Ball Z Abridged, does her usual, my god, this is so dumb. I'm walking away from this. And they just keep blitzing into each other. And Android 17 ultimately comes up with the idea of trying to lure Kakasu up in the air. And he lands on that light orb, which is supposed to be like a facsimile of a sun, where he can blind her and then finish her off with a ki blast. And Champa wants to know, is that allowed? And the Omni Kings were impressed with how clever that was, that they actually approve of it. So Android 17 is allowed to keep that victory. And unfortunately, this causes Brienne de Chateau to really hate Android 17 because he ruined their transformation sequence, and he also knocked out 2 of her teammates. So she is aiming for blood. I mean, she can't kill him, but yeah, she's really that pissed off. All in all, this was a pretty fun episode with how it handles the comedy, especially of dealing with the tropes and gags of doing the magical girl. We even had the bank animation from the opening of Brienne fighting Vegeta, and there was this one point where she did this rolling ball attack, and Vegeta was about to punch her, but her face just kept popping up over and over again, and it's just smiling like, and it just creeped him out so much that he just instinctively dodged it because he didn't want any of that. But it did knock out that Universe 10 Pretty Boy because, I'm oh so fabulous. And Roche Vermouche just had this funny bit where he started to punch her by hitting him over again with the trunk. But it was all just pretty much fun, a celebration, and parody of the Magical Girls. If I did have one complaint, it was with Hellas, as they kept reusing her animation. They didn't allow her to do anything, so I guess they were just doing that to save time and effort with the Magical Girls. But hopefully in the future episodes they'll have Hellas do more. So that's my thoughts on Dragon Ball Super Episode 102. Next video, I'm going to be talking about my thoughts on some manga. Catch you guys later.